This is Leeds Trinity University.
Welcome to the Yorkshire Voice podcast with me, Mimi Ibrahim, and I'm joined by
Theo Darville. I'm Matthew Dudley.
Oh, and I'm Darren. Hello.
Hello. On today's podcast, we've got a look into the homelessness situation in Bradford. We look at the Bradford Arts Centre, which is undergoing huge renovation, and also a few light-hearted stories about showbiz. But we'll begin with the homelessness one. So the railway arches near Forster Square station are regularly used by rough sleepers, and they're set to be blocked off. There's been loads of local pushback to the plans, but Bradford Council have said that they visit the arches on a daily basis and they are committed to ensuring everyone sleeping rough will be provided with a safe space to stay. Ben Webster has this report.
Adding to the list of works being carried out across Bradford this year, the City Council have announced plans to cover over the arches found outside of Forster Square Station. These plans will see 3-metre-high panels being installed into the arches, with new lighting also being added. However, much of the space found between the arches is currently occupied by well-established camps of homeless people who would be forced to leave the area. I spoke to Phil Marshall, CEO of Hope Housing, a homeless charity based in Bradford, about the immediate and long-term impact of these plans on the arches' current inhabitants.
We don't want people on the streets. We don't want people living a homeless lifestyle, but they're living a homeless lifestyle because they don't really have a choice, despite what people have said earlier on in the year. It's not a lifestyle choice. It's a choice because they don't have any other choice. Whilst we don't want people living on the streets, it is at the moment their home. So if someone said to me, I'm coming to board up your home, I wouldn't be very happy. It's not a Bradford problem. It's a national problem. There is, I don't know the numbers. I do know that there's lots of people, thousands and thousands of people waiting on the council, local authority housing waiting lists. I do know they only manage to house hundreds per year, so that doesn't add up. So there's loads, you see street homelessness, that is the peak of the iceberg, if you like. There's so much more. There's so much sofa surfing. There's people living in hostels, people just not having their own home. I wouldn't say it's any worse than anybody else, any other part of the country, or any better. It's definitely there. And again, by just sort of blocking or closing down one area where people live in a bit of a community and are kind of safe because they're together and the CCTV in that area and the people know they're there. All we're doing is dispersing the problem to somewhere else. Consultation would have been good. I do know other charities did know about this. I knew this was happening. I saw a newspaper article, so it was out there. And this was months ago, but I've not heard anything since. But I'm aware of other charities being aware of it. I'm not sure if people who live down the arches were aware of it or if it's sudden to them. Because let's go back to that statement before, is where we're closing down. Whatever you think of it, it's somebody's home, and we're talking about people here, and we're closing that down. We just cannot do that to people without talking to them and having that plan. So the plan, the thought process should be, how can we help you, rather than we're just going to shut you, we're just going to board these up. It might not have meant to be like that. It might have been news that was put out before the consultation, or things might have been happening in the background that I'm not aware of. If that's the case, okay. But certainly there needs to be that joint up thinking, that plan, that pathway, if you like, of how do we get you from underneath the arches to somewhere that you can call your home, a safe place, that's warm, and that we can provide that support.
Amongst other Bradford citizens, while some believe that the plan for the arches are a positive step, many others have doubts over the futures of its homeless population.
They need to make arrangements, but I don't think they should be here.
I think from the council team, it's not a right choice to do because the homeless people don't have anywhere to be. And when it's raining, they can go inside there. It's not even too dark because there's lights inside. I would say it's a good place for homeless people. And I think council shouldn't do that, in my opinion.
I think they should leave the arches as they are. The homeless seem quite settled there. And I think it should just probably help them more than anything than actually just put lights and everything, flowers into it, to be honest.
If you could find a home for these, a roof over the heads of the people who are homeless, which is the only place they've got in Bradford, is somewhere like this. When it's raining, it's not very nice if you're homeless. Keeps the clothes and everything dry. And even if they put screens over them, they could still make an access for them.
It's just like putting spikes down for pigeons.
Our reporter Beth Turner spoke with Steve Richardson from Homeless Not Hopeless about who uses the arches and potential alternative solutions for them.
The number does vary from time to time, but we've seen up to 30 people sleeping down there at its peak. Yeah, I think currently today I've been down and there's about 15 tents.
And why do they choose to use the arches then as a place to sleep?
Well, it offers them some obviously increased shelter, especially in the worst of the weather. And let's face it, we've had the longest, wettest, most miserable winter that I can remember. And so it offers that shelter. It offers safety and security and a community. You know, these people know each other. They look out for each other. I think that the place could be made to be a hostel, a safe space for rough sleepers. We could put some toilets in down there. We could, which would help to keep it clean, which is one of the complaints that people say about it. We could put the shuttering up, but allow people access behind it to place the tent. Or find another space where a number of people can put the tents up and sleep together. Yeah, I'd love that to happen.
Well, we did contact the council with regards to this issue, and they did come back to us, and they said that they do have services that go to the arches every day, and that they are committed to ensure that everyone sleeping rough will be provided somewhere safe for them to stay. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I think that sounds very positive. First of all, yes, they call the HOP team that go down to the arches every day, and they do some absolutely excellent work. There's some really good, committed people, and I have nothing but praise for the work that they do. But they're doing it with limited resources. The resources are limited by and constrained by national government's decision not to fund this kind of work. The benefit of these people being together in a single space is that one, you can service or help more people at a single time. They don't disappear into the fabric of Bradford. It's a big city, and you could easily lose people. And it's just a safer environment. So yeah, the HOP team, fantastic. We really support the work they do. But national government, they should be putting proper resources into solving this problem. Let's face it, we're nearly a quarter of the way through the 21st century, and a major city in the 5th largest country in the world has people sleeping rough on the streets. And that's just, well, that should be something we're ashamed of as a nation.
This is Ben Webster from the Leeds Trinity Newsroom at BCB.
Doctor Who star Ncuti Gatwa says the plot of the first episode in the new series seemed mad to him. The long-running sci-fi show will return to screens next month. The first episode, Spice Babies, will see the Doctor working with 10 infants when it airs on the 11th of May. Darren is a big Doctor Who fan. Darren, are you looking forward to the episode?
This should answer your question. Yeah, of course I'm looking forward to it. It's very exciting, very, very exciting. Not only because of the 11th of May, what a day of TV that's going to be, because it's Doctor Who Day, 2 episodes on that day, and Eurovision Song Contest. So your Saturday night is sorted. Forget your Britain's Got Talent. Yeah. Your Saturday night is sorted. I'm very, very excited about Doctor Who. I've loved Doctor Who since I was a kid. And Ncuti Gatwa is going to be superb as the Doctor. And if anybody watched, obviously all of you watched the 60th anniversary episodes before Christmas. Blank faces looking.
I don't know if we did.
Okay, question then. Have any of you ever watched an episode of Doctor Who? Matt?
I have watched a few before, but not recently.
No. Okay. Theo?
Yeah, I watched David Tennant, Matt Smith, and then David Capaldi. Or was it
Peter Capaldi?
Peter Capaldi.
Oh, right. So you're a little bit into it.
Yeah, it was mainly just the Christmas specials though, because that's what was on while I was munching my cheese board.
Yeah, well, Doctor Who and a cheese board. I mean, that's That's the stuff of dreams. And Mimi, who's your favourite Doctor?
Sarah Jane. I remember watching that when I was a kid.
Sarah Jane Adventures.
Yeah, I used to really watch that, but I never really used to watch Doctor Who's, apart from David Tennant. But
yes, because the Sarah Jane Adventures was a spin-off from the David Tennant one, wasn't it? Yeah. And she was a companion when I was growing up.
Yeah.
With Tom Baker, so he was my Doctor. But now it's obviously Ncuti Gatwa, and David Tennant is around as well.
Oh, good.
Because he came back in the 60th anniversary, and then they had, I'm going to get technical now, they had a bi-generation. So, usually they have a regeneration, then you get your new Doctor. Well, that didn't happen. David Tennant is still there, and Ncuti Gatwa is there as well. So, God knows what they're going to do. But they've got massive amounts of money now. Disney Plus are involved. So it's the BBC and Disney Plus that are funding it. So there could be, I'm really excited because, before they had cardboard sets and everything was looking a little bit shoddy. But now they've got money. Russell T Davies, who sort of resurrected Doctor Who with Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant. He's back at the helm as the showrunner. So very, very exciting. I can't wait. And I know you're going to talk about the Beatles a little bit later on.
We
and
are.
There's an episode in this run of Doctor Who which is all about the Beatles.
Oh.
With Ncuti Gatwa, so set in the 60s. So there's lots to be excited about.
Did Ncuti Gatwa say something like he's interested in the fashion behind Doctor Who?
Yeah, the fashion looks really good in this one because obviously they go back to the 60s, and I've seen some pictures and they look like uber cool. Then they're going back in sort of like a Bridgerton sort of timeline, and the fashion in there looks spectacular. And Jonathan Groff is one of the guest stars in this series, who you may know him from Frozen. He is the voice of who's the guy in front. I've watched it so many times. You've got Anna, and Anna's the guy with the moose with the reindeer. Christoph. Yeah, he's the voice of Christoph.
I was really thinking
Jonathan Groff.
I was thinking Sven, but that was the reindeer.
Yeah, Sven's the reindeer. Yeah, so Jonathan Groff's in this. He's in this Doctor Who. So we don't know who he plays. So I'm gonna say he's the Master.
Shrouded in mystery.
Well, it is. Yes, it is shrouded in mystery. But yeah, to answer you in a very short way. Yes, I'm very excited, Mimi.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Now there's a multi-pound renovation of the Kala Sangam, which will see the city centre's cultural powerhouse renamed as Bradford Cultural Centre, and work has officially begun. Frankie Hairsign has the details.
So I'm here outside the Kala Sangam, where work has started for its 2025 reopening. It will be renamed the Bradford Arts Centre, and when complete will house a new 200-seat theatre, 5 new dance studios, and it aims to have better accessibility for those with mobility issues. It will also be the new home of BCB Radio.
Now, today is the start of International Victorious Women, a month to celebrate women who have turned their struggles into triumphs. And there are so many amazing women. Theo, Matt, is there anyone you'd like to draw attention to?
Yes, we were thinking about this earlier today, weren't we? It's like an influential woman. And I think someone who's had quite a big impact on me growing, like for a few years ago, is someone called Martha Graham, who is a dance practitioner from the 1930s. And she completely revolutionized contemporary dance and like her technique is still taught today. It's like her entire thing was dancing with your soul, not just with your body. And it's like very expressive pelvic movements. And it's still like practiced today at the top dance colleges. And I think even though, like we've said, I think your two people are still alive, even though we don't know who they are, they're still alive. Even though Martha Graham sadly passed on, her legacy still lives on through dance. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Really impressive.
That's really cool. I've never heard of her, but I know you're really into dance. So is that something you still do?
It's not anymore, but it's something I did do. And her technique was something I'd studied for quite a while and really enjoyed doing.
That's great.
That's my influential lady.
Yeah. Can you show us her technique?
Not right now. I don't have the space, Darren.
Really? You need a big room for that?
You need a big room.
Okay, fair enough.
A big room. We can find you a big room, man.
Not right now, we can't.
And how about yourself, Theo?
Mine's a bit of a different direction. She's still alive. Her name is Nia Archives. She's a DJ at the moment. But what she's doing at the moment is hosting female-only events and putting female DJs and non-binary DJs only on the lineup to try and encourage a bit more representation, I guess, which I really like. And the girl-only events, like live music events, over 40% of women have been sexually harassed at a live music event. So I think it's really important that people start doing stuff like this and more awareness gets to her. So I think what she's doing is amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Mine is the greatest woman of all time. She's actually considered the greatest tennis player. She's revolutionized sport, and she's got 23 Grand Slam titles, and it's no other than Serena Williams. So I thought, couldn't think of a better woman to think about, especially now with tennis being more in the forefront. There's a new film out on the cinemas at the moment with Zendaya, and also I remember watching the King Richard film, and I thought it was really interesting to see how much their dad really got them into the sport and how much they loved it. Yeah, and speaking of showbiz, so we've been given the first glimpse of a remastered version of a documentary about the Beatles, and the new trailer shows Sir Paul McCartney. And I've got a bit of a Beatles quiz for you, just to test your knowledge. Yeah, so in which year did the Beatles hold all 5 top positions on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States? Is it A, 1963, B, 1964, C, 1965, or D, 1966? So consecutive years.
That's incredibly hard. I thought it was going to be like 1960s, 1940s, 70s. Yeah. Nope.
Are we working together?
I think we're going to have to work together.
You can.
Thank you.
What jumped out at you there?
Well, have a think. When did the Beatles first launch? Do you remember when the first UK number 1 was in 1963? So think about that.
Okay.
Well, we can rule.
So we can rule 63 out. Probably.
When did it go? 62 to 66?
63 to 66.
I think we go 65.
65? Or do you want to go 66?
It's the World Cup, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was the World Cup, yeah.
I'll go 64.
Should we go 65?
Wait, go what? 64?
I don't know. Is Darren going 64?
I'll go 64. They can do whatever they want. I am in no part of their answer.
Oh, okay. We'll go 65 then.
We'll go 65.
65?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Darn.
Darren was right. You should have listened to him. 64.
I thought it was sabotage.
I feel like Darren knows the Beatles much better than we do.
Okay. And I've got another tricky question for you.
Brilliant. This isn't fair. Darren grew up with the Beatles.
Hey, I know I'm old, but I was about 10 years. Well, all right. Yeah, I am that old. Yeah, fine.
In which of these albums is the only one not to feature a vocal from Ringo Starr? Is it A, A Hard Day's Night?
Yeah.
B, Beatles for Sale?
Mm-hmm.
C, With the Beatles? Or D, Help?
Oh, great albums. Which one of those is your favourite, Matt?
I'm a big fan of Help.
Yeah.
Good
album. Out of that group.
Is that the only one you know?
Oh, I don't know any of them.
Oh, none of them?
None of them.
Oh.
What would be your guess then?
Should we stick with Help?
I'd say A Hard Day's Night.
If you want to go, mate, you can take the lead on this one completely.
Yeah, I'll do it.
If you want Hard Day's Night, we'll go Hard Day's Night.
Yes!
Well, on that note, it's time for the end. Join us at the same time tomorrow.
This is Leeds Trinity University.